Welcome back. Let's talk about some of the differences you see from the last time we met. I simply erased the board and I put sticky notes up to make it a little bit easier to read and to make it possible to move some things around. And I put a little blue tape up. We'll talk about why that is. I use blue tape an awful lot during storytelling and building scrum boards and things like that. And I had the question written up in the corner, how did I make a difference today? Well, I want to make sure we focus on make a difference today. The how is not so much about the tool, but it's what behaviors did we exhibit, what actions did we take. And in order to make a difference, we really have to know what our focus is. In fact, let's take that and go back to our concept of scope. We know that when we talk about scope of a project, we start with an idea. There's something we want to achieve. And we're very focused on what our scope is and what our scope is not. If we don't make that distinction, sometimes our scope expands forever, and you'll hear those phrases, don't boil the ocean, don't solve world hunger. So in order to reinforce that, I've actually put up this tape. And I want you to think about using that as a boundary. In essence, we're creating a wall that says this is where we're focused. And as we create that wall, we want to make a change. We want more of something and we want less of something. As we think about that, I'm actually going to ask you to notice that right here on the wall next to me, I happen to have some instruments. One tells us the temperature in Fahrenheit or centigrade. One tells us the relative humidity in percent. One tells us the barometric pressure in millibars or inches of mercury. So when we talk about making a difference, we're talking about making a change. We want more of something or we want less of something. And in order to do that, we have to know what is our measure. Now, what I'd like you to do as we continue in this exercise is in your own mind, think about these walls and say, what are they for you? And let's try to keep this simple. Are these walls your home and the things that go on in your home? If you manage a team, maybe you have a dedicated team or maybe you're working on a project. Does this wall represent perhaps the cubicles or the open workspace where your team works? Is it your classroom? Is it your business, a small business or otherwise? And we're going to see later why we're doing this label. But I want you to think about that boundary, and we're going to apply it this way. You'll note we have to think about our customers, the products, services, and experiences they want. And if we're going to make a difference for them, we have to say, how can I add value? We want to think about our people. We talked about training, transitioning, and innovation. And specifically want to think about how do I create experiences for my people that allow them to learn and allow them to innovate. On our finances, we really recognize what we're talking about is how do we eliminate waste of capital or other tangible resources. And in our processes, we talked about what our capability was, what our capacity was, what our velocity was, and fundamentally we want to focus on how do we reduce variation. But the model I'd like you to absorb as you look at this is what's on the inside. So I'm going to challenge you with the question, and this is where we're really going to go deep next. Imagine you're a customer outside the box. We really want to think, what do they see as they come to you? And what are you going to offer to them? And you'll note we have to take an action that bridges this gap, that opens a door. We're going to need to do the same thing with our people. And you'll note we're going to start over here with a blank. Straighten that up just a little bit. We'll fix it more later. Our resources. What do we have that we can apply today? And what are our processes? And we may even think about those. What are our menus? What are our recipes? What are those things that we can bring to bear to deliver for our customers? So we know what the model is. We know we want to make a difference. But in order to make that difference and say, what am I going to do today? We're going to have to go take a walk and observe what's going on. And as we move forward, we're going to focus in 3 areas as we shift into really a new set of series. How do I map this system? How do I map the journey? And how do I manage my own tasks, work, and actions so that they actually make a measurable difference? Come back and we'll continue that conversation next time.